Hello guys, we are here talking about the rogue cards from Arkham Horror, the living card game.
LCG.
This is the core set, and we have plenty more content for Arkham Horror, specifically this core set, all over the internet, so go check that out. We've got it, it's everywhere. We've done all of the different cards, card types, so by the end of it, after you watch all of our videos, you will have experienced the entire core set with our thoughts and your entertainment and
completely
enjoyment,
sick and tired
hopefully.
of our presence.
You'll also have heard me say many times that you should subscribe to our Arkham subscriptions. We have pack subscriptions and box subscriptions, so we will send you packs whenever they release, and we will send you those deluxe expansions whenever they release, starting with Dunwich Legacy, and then the first cycle, of course. Let's talk about Skids O'Toole. He is the rogue coming out of the core set, and I like to start with the story, so I'm going to do that. Skids hadn't planned on a life of crime, Robert. But sometimes doing the right thing means getting your hands dirty, which he seems to be doing in the... What's he doing there?
He's
Is he
smoking.
smoking? That's the thinnest cigarette I've ever seen.
It's hand rolled, tight.
Yeah, could be a jazz one. The cops didn't care that Skids needed the money for his mother's operation. His mother died of her illness during the second year of his sentence. All right, so he went to jail. His mother died because he was trying to... It's kind of like a Les Miserables story, right?
Ooh.
It seems like he was trying to steal to help his mom out, and then she died because he went to jail. Well, his cellmate, Brad Hollins, told him there were worse fates than death. He ranted and raved in a quiet voice every evening about the old ones and told Skids about bizarre adventures he'd had while dreaming. Skids didn't give it much thought until the night he woke to the sight of his cellmate bursting into flames.
Whoa! That escalated quickly.
Spontaneous immolation? What is that?
We
Is that what they call it?
went from
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, spontaneous combustion. Went from
It's a real thing, by the way.
veiled, impersonal threats
Have you
to
ever-
somewhat detailed stories that you don't want to hear about to guy just catching on fire.
Catching on fire. Have you seen some of those History Channel stories and documentaries about the spontaneous combustion?
I have, but then they always fail to offer you the supplementary obvious evidence where it's so-and-so was both drinking and smoking in a chair that hadn't been dusted for 30 years that night. That kind
But
of
nothing
stuff.
else catches on fire.
Yeah,
It's just ashes in a chair, and
Well,
how does that even...
It's all that dust.
I don't
and
know. I think
know.
it's supernatural.
Lives of leisure are highly combustible.
Well, here's the thing. When Skids was finally released, he returned to Arkham looking for answers. So he has a deck size of 30. Deck building options: rogue cards 0 through 5, guardian cards 0 through 2, neutral cards 0 through 5. And then he builds his 30-card deck and then includes On the Lam, Hospital Debts, and one random basic weakness. I like that he has Hospital Debts. That's pretty cool. Can you give us his official in-game stats?
Yeah, he's an ex-con. He's got 2 willpower, 3 intellect, 3 fighting, and 4 fly feet. Criminal traded, and then as a free trigger, during your turn, spend 2 resources. You may take an additional action this turn, limit
cool.
once per turn.
That's
very,
always good.
Very cool.
Always good.
And then if you get the superstar, +2, if you succeed, gain 2 resources.
Oh man, that is great. This guy's
Dang,
we
he's
were
the bank.
We're actually being told this. Skids O'Toole, apparently,
He's just a money machine.
is pretty much like your kind of all-around good investigator. As opposed to Agnes.
What about old Conway, who we...
Well, let's talk about Agnes.
The Guardian dude.
Agnes is a very specific kind of investigator, as are some of the other. They have some very specific synergies. He gets his benefits, free actions, and money.
Yes.
And you know what? That's the name of the game.
I
That's
just
the
think that
basics.
makes him a jack of all trades. He can fill any niche at the same time because he's got the actions to do it.
I also don't like that he is both an ex-con and a criminal.
Whoa!
Because once you've done your time, are you really a criminal anymore? Haven't you served?
With the way our Declaration of Felony and Voters' Rights, there's a compelling argument to be made, I think. But nonetheless, he has 8 hit points, 3 insanity points, and then his quote is, "I didn't get out of the joint just to watch the world end." Obviously, he hasn't seen Armageddon.
That's 6 sanity, by the way.
What did I say?
I think you said 3.
Oh, great. I
But
can
6
count.
is way better. So 8 health, 6 sanity. That's reasonable.
We'll take it.
All right, so let's look at Skids. He's got an event starting off. 1 cost. On the Lam has intellect
Man, that's awesome.
and speed and 2 wild. 2 wild. Skids, look at you. Tactic.
He can use this for anything.
His deck only, it's a fast card, so it doesn't cost an action. Fast, play after your turn begins.
Love it.
Until the end of the round, none of the enemies cannot attack you. Wow, he can just run through everything.
What more can you ask for? Only costs 1 to do this. Powerful thing. Great one shot.
Yeah, that's great.
Next up is his, card carrying weakness, Hospital Debts. It's task traded revelation. Put Hospital Debts into play in your threat area, and then as a free trigger action, recurring. Every time. Move 1 resource from your resource pool to Hospital Debts. Limit twice per round, and then force when the game ends if Hospital Debt has fewer than 6 resources on it. You got to stack it up. That's why you get so much money. Good. You earn 2 fewer experience for this scenario. So if you want some pips, you got to pay
so
for
much.
You got to pay.
I love it so much. What a great tax to put on a character.
I love it. And this art is just haunting.
It's the scene of his dying mother.
What truly awesome lighting done for this piece of art.
Very good. So basically, it's a free action, right? Yeah, it's a free action. So you can move resources twice per round for free over there. Now, of course, if we draw the superstar, we get 2 resources. So that could be easy enough. And then when the game ends, you have to have 6 on it to gain experience. That is
very
cool. Or you could just never draw it.
I love all of these are telling a story.
A very good story.
This is
these
are real characters.
The right
here.
way to do this.
They're not just heroes; they're characters.
Now moving on to the Switchblade, 1 cost asset. It has a speed icon, of course, because it's like Switchblade. Item, weapon, melee, illicit, fast, and has an action for fights. If you succeed by 2 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. So
selling point on this card is the illicit trait.
Yeah, little knife.
My goodness.
Takes a hand slot. Maybe you can wield 2 if you want. That'd be nice.
Double Switchblade.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually.
Awesome. Next up, we have Burglary, a 1 cost asset with a, what is that? Intellect.
Yeah.
We'll always call that knowledge if given the chance. Talent and illicit.
I will never give you the chance.
Talent and illicit traded as a standard trigger, or what is it called? Action trigger. Matt. Exhaust Burglary. Investigate. If you succeed, instead of discovering clues, gain 3
Very cool.
resources.
I love it.
That's half your debt right there.
I love it.
Love it.
This is great. Just simple cards that do simple things that are very exciting, entertaining,
Alternate
and flavorful.
title for this card was "Look at my hat."
I do love that.
It's
hat.
like it is just resting, like on top of her hair there. It's
just
like
resting.
it's floating.
That's exactly how the hats used to do.
Well, hats no longer.
Pickpocketing, 2 cost asset. We have the speed icon there, talent and illicit yet again. A recurring action, also known as a reaction, also known as a reaction trigger. After you evade an enemy, exhaust pickpocketing to draw a card.
Wonderful.
So you scoop something off of the enemy as you run away.
Old Skids is going to make good use of his, 4 in Flighty Feet.
Man, so far all of his stuff has been about getting resources or cards.
Yes.
So he's by the books.
He's going to be turning in burden.
Skids is by the books.
All right, next up we've got the 41 Derringer, a 3 cost asset with 1 combat icon, item, weapon, firearm, and again illicit traded and uses 3 ammo. And then as an action standard trigger, spend 1 ammo, fight, you get +2 combat for this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. Very nice.
So his little combat thing there. And I don't have the other ones in front of me, so I can't really compare it very well, but it seems like you have to succeed by 2 or more to get +1 is a little bit more than normal. Because, it is a Derringer.
A Derringer.
I mean, to really do damage with a Derringer, you almost have to shoot somebody in the eyeball.
Yes, in the face.
Because these are little guns.
Yes.
Tiny, tiny little guns.
Very tiny.
Tiny guns. Ooh, 6 cost. The Louisiana Lion, Leo De Luca.
Love it.
Say no more. I want it.
Done.
It has intellect icon, which I wasn't actually expecting. It looks like a bootlegger to me. Ally and criminal. You may take an additional action during your turn for the rest of time. It doesn't say for the rest of time, but basically that's what it is.
No pips, but a high cost that only Skids can afford.
Has an ally little slot there, and 2 health and 2 sanity. And now remember how health works and how health and sanity. If you're taking horror, you're taking damage, you can always put it on anything on your board instead of your investigator. And then if it exceeds any of those numbers, you have to discard it. So don't do that if you paid 6. But
a good point made, but what is really selling this card is the flavor text. In case we almost miss it, quote, "I was born in Mississippi, but Louisiana sounded better." Wonderful.
That's absolutely true. He's not wrong.
He is not wrong.
Ooh, weird.
Next up.
This card makes me uncomfortable.
Hard Knocks. Don't look at me while you're drinking. It's a 2 cost asset with a combat, flight foot, talent traded, spend a free action trigger.
It's a talent? I love that.
Talent. Yeah, right. Spend 1 resource, you get a Punchy Fist +1 for the skill test, and spend another one if you so like to get a Flighty Foot for the skill test. So,
Is that Uzo? Is he drinking Uzo?
Uzo?
I think that is Uzo.
Yeah, it totally is.
Uzo is
Man.
disgusting, by the way.
You gotta really
is
want
the grossest thing. There was one guy in college who always drank Uzo. His name was Dave, and he was a botanist.
I think that same guy went to every college. He was Dave, he was a botanist, and he only drank Uzo. Maybe sometimes gin, but you know.
So this is standard. We've seen this in all of the other decks, and it shows you what Skids is focusing on: combat and speed.
And running away.
He's a rogue. This is what the rogues do. They drink, and then they move around and fight stuff.
And sap your powers.
We have a 2-cost event, Elusive. It is a intellect and speed traded card there. Not traded, but skill iconed card. It has a tactic trait. It says fast, play only during your turn. Disengage from each enemy engaged with you and move to a revealed location with no enemies.
Very cool.
Any revealed location, regardless of if you can actually go there.
That might be helpful to
incredible.
make happen with.
Yeah.
And look at the disbelief and horror on this couple's face at him popping his collar.
Yeah, that reminds me. Yeah,
let that be a lesson to us all.
Hasn't that passed?
Are we not done with this yet?
You never looked good. Elusive.
Why?
It also reminds me of the intro to the Batman the Animated Series.
Ooh,
do you remember the alleyway scene where there's
It was only the greatest intro to a cartoon ever made.
Childhood.
Followed immediately by X-Men.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right.
Actually,
we've had many discussions.
Indisputable.
Next up, we've got Backstab. It is a 3-cost event: 1 combat, 1 agility, tactic traded, fight. This action uses agility instead of combat. This attack deals +2 damage.
Yeah, that's nice.
This is super
Classic
strong.
rogue stuff here, right? Backstab's always been busted.
It's fairly pricey. Yeah, Backstab has always been good in World of Warcraft, in Dungeons and Dragons, you name it, and now in Arkham Core, the card.
That's exactly, and this is real. It's like you have a rogue in Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like
ambush.
If I fight you from the front, like attack an orc, I do like a D4, and then if I manage to attack you from the back, I do 20,000 D8s.
Yeah, 20 D8s. It's like, what is going on?
Who is this rogue? And then in World of Warcraft, it's like, oh, is there a mage over there? How is it fair that I can do 10,000 damage before you even can react to me?
Yeah, not fair at all.
Hey, you're dead now. Woo.
At least they got to the point where after you got sapped, you could put up like that big ice capsule that you got on it. It's like, oh, somebody sapped me, just put it up, throw it up. I got 10 seconds of immunity to everything.
Killer.
It's a great game.
Okay, that's Backstab. That looks good. Also, it is agility. I keep calling that a speed icon. I bet many people will make the same mistake, particularly now that I've done it many times.
I'm going to call it knowledge, just like the other one.
Let's talk about sneak attack.
Learnedness.
Man, I got to tell you.
Oh man, look at that garrote.
All of these cards are just
so cool.
So roguey.
Yeah, very roguey.
Derringer, pickpocketing, burglary, switchblade, hard knocks, elusive, backstab.
Seeing as how vicious some of these cards are for all Skids here, I'm no longer believing that he's the villain with the heart of gold. Kind of thing.
No, he definitely doesn't have a heart of gold.
I think he is a total shady character, scruffy looking nerf herder kind of a guy.
He's a criminal.
Yeah.
2-cost event. We've judged him harshly.
No wonder he can't vote.
1 intellect icon, 1 combat icon, sneak attack, tactic. Deal 2 damage to an exhausted enemy at your location. It's great. You guys will like this one.
Perfect.
I mean, 2 is a little heavy, but
Just
Skids has got
2?
the cash. Skids has the cash.
2 for 2. One for 1. Opportunist is up next. It is a skill with a wild icon.
I like that.
Innate is the trait, and then commit only to a skill test you are performing.
Okay, so you can't throw this in anybody else.
Yes, sir. If you succeed by 3 or more, return Opportunist to your hand after this test instead of discard.
So all of your skill tests, essentially, if this is in your hand, you can throw it out to give +1 to yourself on anything, and then if you succeed by 3 or more, it goes right back. So you got to be careful, because if it's a really risky skill test, you risk losing Opportunist.
But this will hedge your bets for most things. But if you really just want to maybe chance losing it,
sometimes you need the +1 to give yourself a better shot. But then also sometimes it's a sure thing, and you're like, well, I may as well give myself +1. You draw the tentacle.
I love it.
And the whole thing's over.
It's a fun card.
Thanks,
for sure.
Skids. All right, so that's all of the base cards that you can include, and then we move on to the experience-driven includes. Starting with a new copy of the Louisiana Lion, also known as the Mississippi Lion, which is why I changed it. Leo DeLuca at 5 cost instead of 6, which is obviously better. You may take 1 additional action, the same, skill sets are the same, stats are the same, ally trait the same. So it's just a cheaper Leo DeLuca.
All right.
And you know what?
Interesting.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
It's only 1 pip.
What if I want to pay full price?
It's only 1 pip.
It's only
but
1 pip.
There's going to be decks that aren't even going to want Leo, and I think that's going to happen pretty quickly out of the core set once we get the expansions and stuff going. So I think you're going to see the Leo-based decks that want those extra actions and whatnot, and then you're going to see the non-Leo decks that don't care about all that janky combo stuff.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, I would pay 5 or 6 for an extra click.
Yeah, well, it depends.
Every
But what
time.
if you draw it, at the end of the game? I guess it's a kind of a fallacious argument.
Fallacious. All right. Next up, we've got Cat Burglar. It's a 4-cost asset with a willpower and agility icon. Ally and criminal traded. You get +1 agility, and then as a trigger action, exhaust Cat Burglar, disengage from each enemy engaged with you, and move to a connecting location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity with 2 hit points and 2 sanity
So
points.
already we have some competition with Leo. Right out of the core set.
And he's stealing that Zoidberg head.
Are you a Cat Burglar guy or are you a Leo guy?
Why not Zoidberg?
I'm a Zoidberg guy myself.
Aren't we all?
He's here to pay the hospital debts.
That's right.
That's what Zoidberg's
Just
about.
getting it done.
2-cost event, Sure Gamble.
I love
a
it. Got
little throw out.
An Arkham Sure Gamble.
A little throw out to the Netrunner community.
That's right.
Well, thanks. 3 pips for experience there. It is Fortune and Insight traded fast. Play after you reveal a Chaos token with a negative modifier. Switch that token's negative to a positive. I absolutely love it. It's so good. I love this.
That's fantastic.
I love this. And you know what? These cards are especially good as you move into the difficulty levels of like hard, where you start adding a lot more of the negative Chaos tokens.
It's like playing Diablo in hardcore.
Exactly. Well, kind of.
Kind of.
And then you can change the minus to a plus. So those Chaos tokens then become way more beneficial, as you might expect.
Rest assured, death is certain. All right.
Oh my gosh! Look at this card.
It's just phenomenal. Card design and art
Did you
is
see this?
just a match made in
Have you
heaven.
seen this already?
I'm looking.
I know that you haven't.
It is a 3-cost event with a wild icon. 4 pips. What? That's a lot.
Expensive.
Fortune traded gain 10. That's this many resources.
10 resources. You know what I could do with 10 resources?
That's
I
a
could
lot.
buy Leo. I could pay off my hospital debts.
You could almost buy Leo twice.
The improved Leo I could buy twice.
Yes.
I could buy Leo and a Cat Burger just to do it. Just
Or
to
you could have the
replace
cheap and the old.
That's incredible.
version.
I love the
Amazing.
idea of just gaining 10 resources.
Look at her having a hot streak. Nobody can believe it. I win again. Sorry, Sugar. It's just not your night.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful.
Wow.
So there you have it.
Cool. This is going to be important for the game forever because you know that in the future there's going to be the card that costs 10.
4 pips.
And my goodness.
Don't let those hospital debts interfere with your pip collection.
I feel like, so like you kind of want to save up and get a hot streak so that you can consistently pay off your hospital debts. But do you also not want to like spend those experience points on cards to make your deck better so that you have more opportunities to spend resources on the hospital debts without a hot streak? And then if you're not paying off your hospital debts, you'll never get the experience to buy a hot streak. So it's just great. There's a lot of decisions.
There's just all the most fun and entertaining kinds of decisions to be made.
It's fun decisions. Yeah, it's not stupid. It's just fun decisions.
They
Skids
will-
O'Toole, there it is,
they will
guys.
tell you stories.
The rogue out of the core set, is he a rogue survivor? I think he is.
No, he's an ex-con.
Yeah, rogue guardian.
And a criminal.
Which is a cool balance.
He's a guardian.
So there's Skids O'Toole. Thank you guys so much for watching this unboxing and any others in our series. We have Arkham subscriptions. You got to check those out. Get your packs and your expansions for this game without having to worry about keeping up with anything, checking anything. Literally, you are charged and sent the pack just like pretty much as soon as it releases.
Easy peasy.
Sometimes sooner, if you can believe that. So check that out, and
Don't
thank
tell
you for
anybody.
watching. We've got more Arkham content coming up, so stay tuned.
Bye.